Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I know a lot of people have questions over if they should do corporate housing, if they should take stipends, what do they do if they don't have a stipend. So I figured I'd answer all of those questions. I've done corporate housing with good and bad experiences, as well as taken a stipend, and one summer I had to live at home and I didn't have a stipend. And I've had friends who've done both as well, so I figured I'd talk a little bit about that. This video will cover corporate housing first, living at home second, and finding housing without a stipend or with a stipend, just like not corporate housing, third. And aside first, if you're leasing your current school year apartment for your school with a 12-month lease, many schools have this policy where either if you graduate or if you have an internship and proof of employment, they'll let you leave your lease early and you don't need to pay for 2 places at once. So if you fall under that boat, look into that, you'll save thousands. Cool! Back to the video. Corporate housing is a great solution if you want to make friends, if you're new to the area, or if you're living in an area where it's hard to find cheap short-term leases. The one thing you should note though is both the quality of the place you're living and the roommates vary a ton. So most corporate housing is done through this company called Boda. They do some kind of management system, they'll pair you to an apartment. They fill out a form, like if you have a health thing, like because I have eczema, I always need bathtubs, I put that in. I don't know if they actually read it or if I just lucked out and always get a place with a bathtub. So this note about Boda is, especially for the Puget Sound, often they won't let you switch apartments even if you end up in a really awful one, which is what happened to me last summer. So last summer, I was at the worst hotel. Shout out to Larkspur Landing, Seattle. Not sure if you stayed there. If you have, I'm really sorry. If you haven't, avoid it. Like, it's where you send to the relatives you don't like. But the great thing to come of it was I made some of the best friends, like, of my life that I still talk to today. Shout out to Larkspur Landing and Rest Assured. My friends and I became friends, and we were just united by our really terrible living conditions. First off, it was in the middle of nowhere. The nicest restaurant in town was the Safeway, so when anyone had a really nice date that they needed to impress, like, you know, they got the Tinder connection going, whatever, they'd go to the Safeway. And they just have these really nice dates at Safeway. Like, I had this one friend who wanted to have a pizza pocket, I think that's the word, competition with this girl, and Safeway wouldn't let them use their microwave, so they just ate like 40 frozen pizza poppers. Bad housing did push me to go to more intern events. If I'm going to be totally honest, like 15% of the reason why I went to the intern kickoff that year was that I just really wanted to meet an intern with better housing than me. Like, for any guy that thinks you need to be like 6 foot tall and athletic, you really don't need to be. All I really want from a guy is like a 15-minute walking commute to work and maybe waffles in the morning. Like, it's not too much to ask for, that's all I'm saying. So back to the housing. My bathroom counter literally had a bite taken out of it because the hotel was dog friendly. The shower got no water, the beds were stiff, and they once went 4 days without changing my towels, even though I had the please clean room sign up. So at one point I got really, really pissed, and I just took all my wet towels and I put them out in a line down the hallway from the linen closet to my hotel room, which was really probably a crappy bitchy move of me. But they did change my towels, so you know, it worked. Also, the hotel manager was pretty creepy. It was just a really unpleasant living environment. But one of the best things about living there was this external company, something having to do with Microsoft, partnered with the hotel, and they'd have 2 shuttles every morning and 2 every night, always at like 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, so very, very early. But the shuttle driver was honestly the nicest person I'd ever met. She would always ask us about our days, she would stay up to date in the gossip, like who was dating who. So we loved her so much that we got her like an end of summer gift. And like, you know those little families that you stick on the back of the cars? We almost got her that. And also, she ran a limo service, so sometimes if they didn't pick us up in the shuttle, like we didn't have enough people, they put us in a limo, and often like there'd still be balloons in the limo from the party the night before, and we would just roll up to work in this limo, and we'd just like come out, and like balloons were falling out of the doors, and we're just like strolling up to work, like yeah. So it was fun. I also love talking to people on the shuttle. It's honestly how I made my best friends that summer. Again, rest assured, I love you guys. So other things was our hotel did have a lounge for interns, and people mostly used it to drink a lot and do weed and watch movies and play board games, so it was like a little too party for me, but I know a ton of interns who made friends going there, so if that's your jam, it exists, you can go and use it. And often interns, like if some interns had a rooftop and other interns have a lounge, like there'd be parties at almost every single hotel twice a week, I would say. So if you do like partying, you can just like rotate, see all the intern housing, see your options. Not that you get a choice, but like see what other people got to do. So another thing to note is regardless of the company you work for, the intern housing offered by it could be good or bad. I interned at Microsoft 2 years before that, and I had great housing, 10-15 minute walk from work. It was just amazing. Obviously did not get that again, but like the friends were worth it, I would say. Another thing to note is not all Abota housing is hotels. They also offer apartments. Like I stayed at a wonderful apartment facility when I was with GoDaddy. They had a pool, a spa, a movie theater, which I never used but really wish I did. And like just the works, you know, great place. But the apartment roommate situation was just terrible. Like I learned an important lesson is great friends don't make great roommates necessarily. Like I had this roommate who was like, at first I thought she was really nice, hilarious, great person to laugh with. But then she decided to open up a dog sitting business through our apartment. And also the apartment didn't allow pets, but I didn't want to get her in trouble. So any given week she was watching her mom's cat and had 2 to 3 dogs there, which would be great if she was like a homebody, but she'd always go out with friends and I'm the homebody, so when the dogs were barking, I was the one who would have to be like, get them to be quiet or like entertain them. So yeah, that was just a mess. Yeah, her boyfriend also stayed with us for 3 weeks, which, you know, you would think it's a terrible thing, but since she did no cleaning and he felt guilty, he would do cleaning for both of them. And in the end, like, I did complain to the intern housing coordinator at some point because, like, I'm allergic to dogs, my allergies were a mess, and they did nothing. So to get revenge, when I moved out, I didn't clean at all. Like, I left a mess, and she had to clean it, and I know that's probably mean and vindictive of me, but, you know, it's just a peril of intern housing. Another thing to note is if your place is good, if your place is bad, you still pay roughly the same amount of rent on it, depending on your company. So like my nice Microsoft place and my bad Microsoft place still had the same amount of rent to pay on it. Another note is if you have a car, everyone will be friends with you in corporate housing because they all want to get places, and corporate housing can, and like I said earlier, could be in the middle of nowhere. Now on to housing stipends. So housing stipends are great if you live in the area, if you know the area well and don't really need to make friends, if you want to have a high degree of control over where you're living, or if you want to save money. Also, if the housing stipend is bigger, that's another thing to note. Like Apple's housing stipend is only $3,000 and it's in the Bay Area where you get less bang for your buck. Microsoft's was $4,000 in Seattle where you can get a little bit more for your money, but also since so many people choose corporate housing each year, they have to incentivize people to take the stipend, so they always raise the stipend. Like last year I think it was like came to $7,250 or something like that, almost double what it was originally going to be. And to know if your company does that, the best way I found is either to like look online or ask prior interns what the housing stipend ended up being, because that's really the best way you can get a gauge of what it is. Like I said, I lived at home when I was working at Apple and I regretted it because I interned in spring, which is an off season, so I didn't really get to meet other people my age. And also, I'm in a family of 6. We had 1 dog back then, now we have 2. The house is packed. Also, my mother made me pay rent, and I had the smallest room, and she didn't let me bring home guys unless they were gay. Like, even platonic guys, she's like, Rebecca, you have little sisters in the house, what if they're sexually assaulted? My mom's an interesting character. We'll use that word, character. So yeah, I hated living at home. Living at home works great though if you like your family. So if you have a great supportive family, highly recommend it. I mean, fortunately my commute to work wasn't that bad. So that was probably the best part of living at home. And I did save some of the money that wasn't going to my mother. Yeah. So if you do decide to take a stipend or like a stipend isn't offered, there are 2 really great ways to find an apartment. The first one is like, you know how there are usually colleges in the area where you're interning? join their Facebook pages for housing because there are a ton of people looking to sublet their apartment and you can get a really cheap sublet. The other option is Airbnb. Now Airbnb works better if you're a returning intern or if you're like one of the semester system people that start in May because you know where you're working sooner and you get better selection on Airbnb. Whereas like quarter system people, since we're usually recruited later, we don't know like until the later on where we're going to be working, so we don't have as great of selection. So yeah, I hope this was helpful and answered your questions. If you still have questions on this, leave them below. Also, if you want to see me talk on anything like, I don't know, I usually base these videos off of what I've been seeing in Lady Storm hackathons when I do them, and I should be doing more of these, so don't worry, you'll probably see more of these in the same shirt because I'm doing like 3 today. Don't worry, I change outfits, it's the thing. But to the point, if you have any ideas for more videos or want me to see me talk on something, just leave them below in the comments. I read them, usually because they're less than 5. But yeah, have a great day. Thank you. Bye.